Previously we made a program to check whether a user entered number was odd or even, but we didn't have one condition to check whether the number was within our range, that is greater than or equal to 0. For that, the if statement will be if norm is greater than or equal to 0, and if this condition is met, then only we want this block of code to run. So by the help of nested ifs, that is having one if statement inside the other, we can keep this whole block here. So just copy this whole code and drag it in this block. So on doing so, these indentation might go here and there. So again, select this code and go to source and then correct indentation, and we will have a well indented program. So only when the norm is greater than or equal to 0, this code will run. And we can have an else statement as well for this if. So just go here and type else and system dot out dot println, and then the number is invalid. So let's run the program, and when we now enter a negative number, then it will show the number is invalid. So now you can see a more powerful form of the if statement, and which will let us build more powerful applications. Similarly, we are not restricted to have only one if statement inside the other. We can have as many if statements as we like. And now that you know about these nested ifs, you can make a program really branched to build a really cool app. But relying heavily in these nested ifs can make our program really frustrating and hard to read. So we will be building another application that will give grades based on the user's marks scores obtained. So delete this code till this only this if block, and change the comment to program to give user his lesser grades. So change this int norm to int score, and right here enter your score, and this norm now should be CURI score. So I hadn't discussed it before, but to store strings, we have a string data type, and we declare it by with the keyword string string, and then give it a variable name grade, and this grade string variable will store the score grade of the user. So let's enter to the main part now, that is the condition part. And our first condition will be to check the validity of the score, and this score must be greater than or equal to 0, and then less than or equal to 100, which is if score is greater than or equal to 0 and score is less than or equal to 100, only then we will execute our code. Else we will do something different. So if the score is greater than 90, then we will assign it a grade A star. Else, and again if score is greater than, or that must be greater than or equal to, and again if score is greater than or equal to 80, the score will be, the grade will be an A, and again else, and if score will be greater than or equal to 70, the grade will be B, and again else. And now you can see we have run very deep inside these nested loops, nested ifs, and it's starting to get really unreadable and very ugly. So now we will use another solution to do to solve this problem, that is by using else if. So clear all these inner if statements, and like before, type if score is greater than or equal to 90, we will give the grade A star, but this time instead of else we will use else if. So if this condition is false, then it will move to this condition, and just like the if statement we can write if score is greater than or equal to 80, you can give grade an A, and again else if score is greater than or equal to 70, the grade will be B. So just copy this one else if statement and paste it, and that will be 60 or C, and paste it, and again 50 for D, and again 40, that will be E, and else if all these conditions are not satisfied, we can have the final else if statement, and the grade will be U for undefined grade. So you can see here we squeezed all that nested ifs to this simple, readable and beautiful if else statements. So this is how it works. If this first condition is met, then this will be executed, otherwise it will move to this other else if, and if that condition is also not satisfied, it will move to this and to this one and this, and finally if neither of all these conditions are met, then this else statement will be executed. And now we can print the grade here, system.out.println, and then your grade is plus grade. And for this for the else part of this outermost if, we can say your grade is invalid, your score is not within range. So that's it for the program, and we can now run it. Okay, enter your score, say 99, your grade is A star, and again for 30 your grade is U, and for minus something your score is not within range, and again for 90,000 your score is not within range. So now you know how to use these else if statements. And the final thing that we have left is the logical OR operator. Just clear all this code inside this main method, and suppose we have a if statement and two variables a and b, and we compare them like this: if a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0, then this if block will only run if both these conditions are met. But there may be times when we want this if block to run only when one condition is met, and for that we use the OR operator, and that is two pipes. These pipes are with the backward slash, and so on doing so this if block will run even when only one condition is met or both conditions are met. If both of these conditions are false, then it won't run. But if a is equal to 0 but b is not equal to 0, then also it will run. If a is not equal to 0 but if b is equal to 0, then also this if block will run. And when a is also equal to 0 and b is also equal to 0, it will absolutely run. So this operator is called the OR operator, and it is one of the logical operators in Java. So now we have covered all the essential elements of if statement and logical operators, as well as all the relational operators. Now we will move on to the switch statement.